Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you guys my Vehicroid Yugioh deck profile for September 2018. I actually want to bring you guys this deck profile for quite some time since the last update. I think the last update might have actually been before the impact of link format, where I had the mixed variant between the Vehicroids and the Speedroids because their effects and searches basically counted all together since it said roids. But I decided to take the Speedroid engine out of the deck and then just focus more on, the Vehicroid monsters that Cyrus used in GX, just for a more pure variant. I know you guys like that a lot. And the biggest problem is like Speedroid Menko and all the other ones kind of focus more on synchro, and the whole basis of this deck is more of a fusion kind of aspect. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, one of your main Vehicroids is Mixeroid. He just sets up so many of your plays. You contribute one machine monster to special summon one non-Windroid monster from your deck, and you can pay half your life points and banish any number of machine monsters from your graveyard, including this card. Special summon from your extra deck one Roid fusion monster with the same level as the number of those banished monsters, ignoring the summoning conditions, but destroy it during the end phase. You can only use each effect of Mixeroid once per turn. So one of the better things about Mixeroid's banish effect and not using the Speedroid monsters, since they're all wind, is obviously the fact that you can search out any Vehicroid monster that you need, as long as it's not a wind monster. So you obviously can't search out Mixeroid, but you can grab anything else for the situation, basically, whether it be a specific fusion or, just something with a little better stats, since Mixeroid has 2200 defense and no attack. So definite 3 of. He helps with so many of your plays for sure. Same goes for Ambulance Roid. I'm running 3 of this as well. The main reason I run 3 Mixeroid, 3 Ambulance Roid, and 3 Express Roid, which we'll get to in a bit, is because they're all also machine duplication targets, which I run in the deck as well, just so you can get more monsters out in the field fast as well, to have for your link fodder or your fusion fodder. And with the Ambulance Roid, when a Roid monster is added from your graveyard to your hand, you can special summon that monster. So the add effect's not too bad, just for the recycle power for sure, but also for the fact that when you use it with Express Roid, you can special summon it to the field, so it's a lot faster for the consistency of getting your Vehicroid monsters on the field. And we were talking about Express Roid enough. Run 3 of it as well. When it is summoned, you can target 2 Roid monsters in your graveyard except Express Roid. Add those targets to your hand. So like I said before, it works very well with Ambulance Roid being able to add and then special summon. So as long as you get them both out to the field fast enough, you can make use of the special summon effects. And like I said, also they're all machine duplication targets since they all have less than 500 attack. So all great for bigger summon plays as well. And then for some of the smaller Roid numbers, I run 2 Steam Roid. I ended up not running this in the original deck, but tested out what I would think would be the best, Roids to add in for a pure version. And Steam Roid with its, attack gain just makes for one of the stronger ones, and also, not being a wind type, just like Express Roid and Ambulance Roid, they're all, targets for Mixeroid for the special summon. But the only, downfall obviously is if you are, attacked, he loses the 500, but when he attacks, he gains the 500. So you can get over a good number of cards on the field for sure. Same goes for Drillroid, which I'm also running 2 of. This one, when it attacks a defense monster, destroy the monster with this card's effect without applying damage calc. So attack right into it, and you don't have to worry about how big the attack is or anything like that. It automatically gets destroyed. And I also run 2 Truckroid, just an additional backup when it swings into smaller monsters. For sure, when it destroys the monster your opponent controls and sends it to the graveyard, you equip it to this card, and it gains attack equal to the combined attack of the equipped cards. So Truckroid, I've run over plenty of Underclock takers with this card and then just taken them from my opponent. Quite funny when you do it and then just build up your Truckroid. So pretty awesome. Sometimes I even go with the limiter removal play, doubling the attack, knowing you'll get destroyed, but I can at least get over some problem targets with it also, and then take them so they don't have to rely on the graveyard effects as well during that turn at least. And for the one-ofs, I run 1 Gyroid. This is just an additional option to run in the deck in case I ever need to fusion summon out the Jumbo Drill with the original method. So I have the Steam Roid, the Drill Roid, and the Submarine Roid all available to it also, but also just as that extra 1 target as well. I know that Gyroid itself isn't part of the fusion for it, but still good for a defense play for the one-of to run in the deck. The one that you do run for the fusion, though, is is the Submarine Roid, which I run one of basically for that play that I stated and messed up with because I could have swore that Gyroid was part of Vehicle Jumbo Drill, but it's actually Submarine Roid. But I still like to run the one Gyroid just for that additional, like I said, defensive play that I was getting at. And Submarine Roid also has that attack defensive play as well you can go into, especially when you tribute into Mixeroid and attack with it, then switches to defense. But you also need that Steamroid and Drillroid to go into the Jumbo Drill for sure. And that is it for the monsters. Like I said, tried to go for the purest lineup of monsters to run. The 3Fs for Express Roid, Ambulance Roid, and Mixeroid definitely do help with the machine dupe targets, but having the other ones just for all these different options also comes in handy for sure. But moving on to the spells, I run 3 Megaroid City. With this field spell, it just helps with so many different plays. You can target one other card you control, destroy it, and if you do, add 1 Roid card from your deck to your hand. And during damage calculation, if your Roid monster battles, you can send 1 Roid monster from your deck to the graveyard, switch the original attack and defense of your battling monster during damage calc only. You can only use this effect of Megaroid City once per turn, and you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion monsters the turn you activate either of this card's effect, even if this card leaves the field. So your big play you go for with this one is Super Vehicroid mobile base. Being able to get this guy up to 5,000 attack is quite powerful when you're going up against your opponent. So, and you can also send basically, you know, maybe Vehicroids that you would prefer just to send to the graveyard to use for the cost, since you kind of maybe want to save the other ones for some of your other plays since they're more vital for your, you know, cards. So just giving you options there for cards to send with this, and then boost up your power effects for your bigger Vehicroid monsters. And then for your fusions, when you're not using Mixeroid, I also run 3 Vehicroid Connection Zone. With this one, you fusion summon 1 Vehicroid fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. And if you do, it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and its effects cannot be negated. So you have, if you have to sit on mobile base in defense mode, it's basically the ultimate shield, meaning your opponent has to attack over it. Since it cannot be destroyed by card effects, that's just that awesome protection there that you can rely on with this fusion spell. And I also run 3 Instant Fusion. I run this card just as basically your extra monster backup, since we are running your Parapsychroid in this deck, because the fusion requirements for your main fusion mobile base requires 1 Roid fusion monster and 1 Roid monster. So being able to use Instant Fusion is the easiest way just to get your Roid fusion monster for the requirements, and then having the 1 Roid monster in your hand for that other fusion summon just definitely comes in handy. So running 3 of this is just like, you know, that additional fusion aspect that you can rely on. And we were talking about plenty enough early in the video, but 3 machine duplication. You target 1 machine type monster you control with 500 or less attack. Special summon up to 2 monsters from your deck with the same name as that monster, so easy special summon. Then it can either be link fodder, fusion fodder, you name it, depending on what you special summon with this card. And all the Roid monsters are machines, so 1 limiter removal just for that bump up. It can be a real game winner for sure when you're attacking with your monsters, so definitely like to rely on it. And also I run the 1 terraforming just so I can have quicker access to the field spell as well. And I also run 1 Soul Charge just for more revival options, and Monster Reborn. Just be wary with the Soul Charge. Most of the time I just use it for the one-off targets and then play defensively when I get out my mobile base, because you do spend quite a good amount of life in this deck with the Instant Fusion. That's the target. Sorry, zoned out there for a second. So like I said, just be wary with your life point cost. And moving on to the traps, I run 3 Emergeroid Call. This is a counter trap specifically made for the Vehicroids. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated while you control a Roid fusion monster, negate the activation, then send all cards with the same name as that card from the activating player's deck and extra deck to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Roid monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Emergeroid Call once per turn, but the fact that you can basically get rid of a problem card that your opponent is relying on just by having a Roid fusion monster on the field, and this counter trap is extremely powerful. So, and the fact that it is a counter trap means that it can handle a lot of different ones that are pesky for sure that your opponent may use, and just, you know, have, you know, number 1 negation against it. So you don't have to worry too much. All you have to do is basically have what is very easy to make in this deck, and that's the Roid fusion. And then lastly, I just run 2 Solemn Strikes, just for a little more additional support for the negation, along with the Emergeroid calls, being able to stop summons, and then the negations just makes for excellent back row. And also I run 2 Supercharge. Once again, just draw power when your opponent declares an attack, while the only monsters you control are machine-type Roid monsters. Draw 2 cards. Works very well early game for an early set, along with some of your other counter traps that you run. So definitely does come in handy for the hand consistency as well, since you do invest in your fusion summons a lot, and that draw power just, like I said, comes in handy. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra. I run 3, but you can for sure mix around your numbers, just because it is very easy to make this fusion monster. It's Super Vehicroid mobile base. You need 1 Roid fusion monster and 1 Roid monster. With the Parapsychroids, you can easily get out with instant fusion, making it another easy fusion to make. And then you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, special summon 1 Roid monster from your deck or extra deck with attack less than or equal to that monster. You can only use this effect of Super Vehicroid mobile base once per turn, and once per turn during the end phase, you can target 1 Roid monster in your main monster zone other than this card. Return that monster you control to the hand, and if you do, move this card you control that monster's zone. So the biggest way you want to make sure you can use this card's extra deck special summoning, obviously if this is in the extra monster zone, you can't use that summon, but if you can return that Roid and then move it to that zone, then you have the extra deck space free next turn. If you made this card with Super Vehicroid connection zone, it's going to be, like I said, very difficult for your opponent to get over this card. They'll have to, rely on other tactics than, destroying it. They'll have to somehow attack over it, obviously. But by then, if it takes another turn, you can just get your special summon out next turn also. And I also run the 3 Parapsychroid. This is just because of the fact that instant fusion target, so very easy to get out. And then it's half the equation for the mobile base to make. And then if you can get it out normally with the 2 machine types with the same name, if you summon it that way, it can attack your opponent directly. It can be some game winners at time too, just getting past your opponent's stuff, especially if you have limited removal also, hitting for those big numbers. And I run the 1 Super Vehicroid Jumbo Drill. If you make it normally, like I said before, with Steamroid, Drillroid, and Submarine Roid, most of the time I like to use it just for the mobile-based special summon. So you have this 3,000 attack point monster that can do piercing, so quite powerful for sure. And just another target for the instant fusion is Panzer Dragon. If it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you target 1 card on the field, destroy it. So pop options there available to you. And then for the Exceed monsters, I run 1 Gear Gigan X, plenty of machines to make use of in this deck, so I like to run it at 1. Same with 1 Baguska and 1 Abyss Dweller for the rank 4s you can make most of the time, is what I like to go for with all the different ones we run. And also 1 Decode Talker for the Link monsters, along with 1 Underclock, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, and 1 Mrs. Radiant. If you have Nightmare Phoenix or Nightmare Pegasus, you can run those as well, just by mixing around a couple numbers. Just added link options available to you. I like Mrs. Radiant, since most of the Roid monsters we do run are Earth, so that option does come up more than enough. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but definitely having fun making all these different decks, and still taking recommendations on anything you want to see. I know a lot of you requested that I work on a junk deck. I am in the process of making that as well, so I hope to get that out to you guys soon enough as well. But don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and until next time, Kira Twig out.